The most powerful tool we have as developers is DevOps automation. The key inside a transition to continuous delivery is to expect things to get worse before you'll be able to make them better. With that being said, a very good evening to everyone watching. Welcome to Demystifying DevOps, organized by the FOSS Community of SLIIT. Today we have Arshad Zackeriya with us, who is a DevOps consultant at Palo IT Singapore and an AWS Community Builder, to explore the power of DevOps. Arshad, the platform is yours.
Hey, thank you, Shekhar. So thank you so much for inviting me for this session. Actually, I always wanted to share whatever things I learned, and I have seen a lot of the loopholes that in our DevOps community and industry in Sri Lanka that people are doing it wrong. So always wanted to clone a better version than me and others like who are in the industry. So in this session, right? So basically, it's mainly a theoretical session. I'll be explaining about the principles of DevOps and some of the theories, some of the principles, and a lot about how to understand DevOps, the transformation process. So about me, I'm a simple guy. I do everyday DevOps and enable DevOps for my customers and help them to do the DevOps transformation. So, and currently I am a co-organizer of the DevOps Sri Lanka. If you're familiar with that, you may know that there's a Facebook group and co-organizer of the AWS user group Singapore. We host AWS in-person events now because after the COVID restrictions are linear now here, so we can have a lot of in-person events now. And I'm an AWS Community Builder, so I think most of you are familiar with AWS Community Builder. Is such an awesome community. So I have my own podcast called DevOps Exact, so you can learn. End of the session, I'll be sharing the links. And I do kind of a same event like this, a show called the Zack Show with another one of my good friend. Yeah. So let's get started, right? So before we talk about DevOps, right, we should know how the things actually happen before DevOps. So there's a team called Autonomous Team. They used to do everything. Like now we have like for QA we have a separate team. For database we have a separate team. For security we have a separate team. But if you think about like a couple of years ago, you think there are separate teams for that? No, right? So people used to do a lot of things themselves before these things come to the industry. So basically, we talk about dev and ops, basically developer and operations, right? So developers' main purposes and main challenges are like create changes, add or modify features, and fixing bugs. So that's how they can deliver the good software to the market or whatever the platform they are on. And operation, basically, they make sure the infrastructure is stable. So they want to make sure the stability of the infrastructure and create and enhance the services and monitor and observability part. So the problem is, that disconnect between the groups. So I think you all, if you're a newbie or if you're joining a new company, some places there like you see that disconnect between groups that not in technical way, even though in non-technical. I have seen personally, if the QA team, they'll go out lunch separately. They never hang around with the developers. Maybe developers go with separately. So apart from the technical side, that's a big loophole I've seen this. And yes, conflicts and there are so many conflicts inside the organizations. Not everywhere, but most of the places you have. And devs don't deploy consistent software, so there's no any consistency of the deployments. And ops are always motivated to resist the changes. It means they don't like change in the production. Like if that works, they said okay, it's working for like 100 years now, don't touch it, let it be. So for taking new challenges, taking risk, they just kind of resisting that. So, and the operation process is very static. So a lot of manual things, there are consoles, right? They go to the AWS console and click this button and they do things, but not thinking about how to automate things. So later on, we are going in deep about this topic and we're going to talk it. So what's the solution? Yes, it's enabling DevOps and do the DevOps proper transformation for an organization. And you can understand in a couple of slides how we are going to from the first. Sorry. Um, we can understand how the from the initial discovery stage to the delivery stage, how we go in the transformation of the DevOps. So, what is basically DevOps? If you are giving a definition, there are so many definitions. So it's kind of a combination of culture, practice, and tools. So they can deliver the application to the industry in high velocity. What means high velocity? Okay, so you've seen this big e-commerce platform like eBay, Amazon. There are so many Shopee, so many sites around the world, right? So how can they keep their software up to date and delivery the application to the industry, right? So for that, they have to deliver in high velocity, but make sure it's not breaking anything. So they have to keep some notes that they can deliver. Anyone can deliver very fast pace, but it can be break, right? So we have to make sure the quality of the product as well. So DevOps is, everyone thinks that it's all about tools, but DevOps is not about tools, it's more about people. So in this session, I want to make sure to understand you all. It's not about tools. We are talking about the industry, right? It's Kubernetes, Docker, and AWS tools or whatever. But yes, you need the tools to enable the DevOps. But the tools you can learn. You can learn you can go for a Udemy account or Cloud Academy, whatever subscription you can take, and you can learn. Or you can read the books. You can learn. But how you learn the process and the practice and the culture, right? So that should be come through the organization where you're working. So if you ask me, I will give you the definition like these three words like culture, practice, and tools. So let's go and see each one by one. What are these the culture and the practice and tools? The culture is representing human and technical process, communication, and some tools like we use the Jira, for example, atlassian tool. So we can create tasks, and we have some we call it a Scrum. We have retro session. So we do these things, and the automation of the process. Even so, Jira, you can create the ticket. If you create the bug fix ticket, so it will automatically create a new branch. You can work on it, like something like you can create a own process according to your organization. And sharing feedback, that's very, very important. And the knowledge, because sharing feedback, it's really important. I'll tell you and give you some example why it's really important. And sharing knowledge as well. Whatever you do, you should document everything. So even though I have worked in some organizations that if I working on a task, I cannot close this task until I have created a proper documentation. Once the documentation is peer reviewed and approved, then only I can close the task. So those are like the practice we can enforce to make it happen. So those practices, I think these things you heard like infrastructure as code, we call IAC, continuous integration, continuous deployments, continuous delivery. So we call it CI/CD, and automated release management and observability. So DevOps tools, right? There are thousands of tools in the industry. So I put few of the tools like the family ones, Jenkins, Selenium, Docker. If you're running in containerized platforms, Docker Kubernetes is really helpful these days. And GitLab, GitHub also, they have GitHub Actions. So AWS Cloud, Google Cloud, so they have the DevOps tools. Even the Azure DevOps tools are really awesome. There are more tools in the industry, but it's really it's really important to understand in the DevOps is it's a concept, a mindset, a culture, a learning, so on, according to this. But it's not a tool, or it's not isolated to something like Kubernetes, one programming language. So I have seen some had crazy advertisement that everyone is rushing to learn Golang. They think, okay, it's the now the famous tool language you learn for the DevOps. No, there's no such a thing as that. If you know a programming language, and if you know the basic concept, you should be able to code yourself. So don't enforce yourself for such things. It's rather than you should learn things than that. So there are a lot of theories in the industry about we're talking about the DevOps. So there are a nice couple of books later I will share with you, and I'm planning to have a Kahoot quiz and give away a few of the books of that. So please listen carefully. So some of the questions I'm going to ask regarding these things as well. So the 3 ways of DevOps, right? So there's an author called Jim Kim. So he's a co-author of DevOps Handbook, the Phoenix Project, the Unicorn Project. There's such a few nice, awesome books are there. So so this 3 ways of DevOps is kind of a theory that he's implying for any organization, and there are nice use cases in that book that you can read and understand how to enable these things. So the first way is the flow. Is you see the left to right. So dev to ops. So it's only one way flow, and uh, always seek to increase the flow. So basically, to developer to the ops is always to increase the flow. So apart from that, no known defect should be passed downstreams. So those are the key couple of things for this first one. And for the second one, so this is really important. So I like this the second way, actually, amplify the feedback loops. So remember I was talking about the feedback. So it's important to establish an upstream feedback and shorten the feedback loop and amplify the feedback. So amplify means the bandwidth is you have to amplify it, but shorten the feedback loop. So if I give an example, right? Okay, if you are doing some okay, you're a company that you're doing a lot of POC, the proof of concept for one of your product or some project base, and you want to you're recreating things in the cloud or somewhere, like you're recreating again and again. And if your manager is asking you to, okay, we have a customer from Thailand and you want to show a POC of this, can you please can we can you please show our product number one to them, and you have to go and deploy it in cloud, AWS cloud or Google, wherever you want to show this. So if this thing have to redone again and again, something wrong, right? So it means it wasn't done the right, I mean, like, it wasn't done the first time the right way. So if example, so if imagine you have a EKS cluster running your pods, and your product is running basically on top of that. And every time there's a POC, if you go and in the console and you deploy, you click, and sometimes you forgot what the steps you following last time is hassle, right? So the first time when you're done, it's not the right way. But you can spend some time. If you're doing it the right way, you can spend some time. You can use the ISC, infrastructure as code, such as Terraform, CloudFormation, Pulumi. There's so many ways. So you write everything in a code, and you can do it as a general way, where you can recreate your things very fast. So that's one of the things you can learn from here. So the loop is really important, and loop should be take as very positive. The feedbacks, it should be positive, because I don't believe in the negative feedback. If something to improve, don't take as a negative. It's a good thing for you as well. You can improve, and you can redo it in a better way. So don't take the feedback loops as take loop back uh, feeds from as in a positive way. Don't take that easy. So this is really important to do that. So this one is actually the experimentation. So, and keep learning. So you see, right, the multiple loopbacks inside the main one. There's a circle here, right? So it's like constant improvements, and learn from success and failure. So that's what I mentioned before. Learn from, you can success, either failure. If it's a good thing to learn, you document. Okay, we are going to use this method. So uh, uh, for deploying in, okay, for example, I can tell you, okay, again, same, the IAC one. So if you're using Terraform to deploy this to all your multiple accounts using maybe in a pipeline, so you keep doing that, and you see a success rate like okay, we spent like 30 minutes of time rather than spending few days to deploy this. So later on we will be talking about success metrics as well, so I'll go deep into that in that way. So you see, right, uh, it, it's really important to learn from the failure and success. Again, I'm repeating because it's really important part to keep in your mind. And it can be failure. Okay, maybe you choose. There are two paths. You choose the first path to go, and you spend like 5 days but failed, but fine. But you make sure you document it. You document it. So have you heard about the thing called like architectural ADRs? We call the architect decision records. So ADR, what we do is we record each and every decision we are taking, even though it may be a failure one, a success, we take it and we justify why. And there's a format to do it. If you Google ADR, you can find templates, different templates available. So you can see a point for consequences, so you can justify what are the consequences if you're going method. So if it can be a failure, don't worry, you can be fail, but make sure you learn from that and you move it on. So there's another framework called CALMS framework. So this one actually pointed by Jay Sumble. So he is also one of the author from this DevOps handbook book. So the CALMS framework actually it tells you how to head up the process and how to measure the success of your DevOps transformation, because later on you need to understand the success metrics of your DevOps transformation. Otherwise, no point, right? Even though you cannot measure your time, your cost, because everything, the business is every day the business all about the money. Even though you may done a big project and it can be using the best softwares and best teams and best tools, but if it's not earning more money, it's no point. So nobody cares about tools end of the day if it's a failure project, right? So it's really important to understand. So always keep calms and do DevOps. So calms stand for actually the five areas there. C for culture, automation, lean, measurement, and sharing. So when culture is really important, as I mentioned before. So culture is all about the blameless culture. So blameless culture means your team leaders, team members should be able to come up with open-minded as experimented mind. You should be able to do more experiment, and you should have a fear of failure, fail fast and fail forward. It's okay to fail fast and you'll fail forward. And organization silos. So it's really important to how to your organization, your the silos, and there should be any gaps or any conflict between that. And the another part is like the technology to the customer, how to deliver the product to the customer. Because I have seen this, a lot of people starting startups, especially in the startup culture, that they think, okay, this is startup, we can do in console way, so once we establish this we can go automate things. No, it's wrong. From the beginning you should follow this method, then you can see your failures and success both. So if you has a failure, you can improve that part and you can avoid a lot of spending money or some other things, so manpower as well. So another thing is, if you're a customer, you should listen carefully what the customer needs, and rather you providing something else, like delivering something else opposite to that. What I mean by that, okay, so you always give a solution for the problem. You don't create the solution and looking for sell the product. Okay, you may create a product and you use the best whatever the tools in the industry and best technology, best process, but you're looking for selling that. It's wrong. So it's something like you are looking for the problem and to solve. So the technology to customer should communicate very well. And the automation, okay, yes, I told you that you should automate everything, but you should not make it like speed. If you speed drive a car, if the car is driving very speed, it can crash very fast, right? So make sure to automate what are the necessary things and important stuff. And don't use, if there's a tool in the industry, don't go and use just, okay, there's a new tool, wow, it's in the CNCF, we should try this and we should push the production. Never do that. Before you pick a tool, you should do a feasibility study and a risk assessment and do a POC, and you should have a couple of discussion with the team. That's how you pick a tool, and there are so many methods other way. And Automation success is not all about the tools, the people and the process too. So always make sure the DevOps is not only tools, the main part is the people. So that's really, really important. And the lean is basically, and when you're coding, what's a lean mean, right? You remove the garbage and you clean the code, right? So something like that. Keep simplify and the lean the process and the tools, and keep the repeatable process, right? Right? Okay. Like I mentioned the previous scenario, that we have a POC project coming up, and if you are done in a way that you can recreate it repeatably in your IAC platform. So when your leader is asking, okay, the team, we need to show this POC to the Australian customer next week. Yeah, no worries. So you just reuse this code and you recreate your new infrastructure according to that. So make sure to do that. And next one is the measurement. It's really important. I like this part. So measurements, you can come up with a few type of measurements, at especially people measurement. View check is the team is happy. You maybe have the team outing, and I have seen that every Friday evening you go for a drink or for coffee. Yes, but uh, it's really team is happy. It's not only the team should share the happiness, but if anyone is having something like a problem or a lacking of knowledge, or maybe a failure, something a human error happened. So as I mentioned, the culture part, we should come up with a blameless culture who can help others, the entire team, to correct those things and improve and move on with that. So this is really important when it's come to the people measurement. Always should check is the team is happy. That's really, really important. And the team is productive. You can check with various method that maybe you this team can overkilling, like overutilizing some team members or underutilizing the team members. So it's really important to measure. And process measurement, so that's also important, because how useful is process? Okay, the company can have like multiple processes. For example, I'll give you example. Okay, you're cloning your production database to UAT your development environment. Then you know you cannot have the production data in your test environment. It's really dangerous. So you can come up with such a process, sanitizing the data. Like you can remove the before you restore the to the environment to the UAT, you can sanitize the data. Like you can remove the production critical information, such as contact details, contact email. So are there any important information? So you should really think, check whether it's really useful. So the example I gave you, it's really useful, yes. But imagine like if there is a testing, if you're running a dev environment, okay, we call it a purple environment, right? So the dev environment, if you have put a lot of process to test, and if the developer cannot access the logs, developer need always seek for the ops guy to do these things and spin up things. So those process can be overkill. So you have to make sure that it's really useful process. If you're seeing the developer needs more time to finish this task, if you really check in the retro session, the developer can say, okay, these are the blockers I had to wait until these ops guys to create my environment. In the developer account, if I had the access, I could have done this faster. Yes, so I agree with that. So things you can improve in your organization. And you have to always check, should take the feedback loop and check how the people taking it. Are they happy taking it, or just are they keep complaining about this? And technology measurement. So technology measurements are really nice things. So I really love this part, because where you can measure your success story. So if your DevOps transformation is success, um, using these tools, you can see is success or not. So basically, you can see the one thing is measure the usage of tools, and is it really useful? Maybe one of the team members are suggesting, okay, we have to buy this tool A, and you can buy it. You can do a proper POC, like I mentioned before. You can go all the process and you can buy it. But after buying, you have to check whether are they really using it. If they're not using it, no point of buying it, right? So you have to keep measure that one as well. And and the infrastructure. So dev environments, the developers or the ops guys can um, leave the servers on after 6 o'clock. So that's why again we are going to the automation. See, it's again in the same loop we are going in. So you can put some automation to shut down your infra servers in dev environment after 6 o'clock. It's good. You can go home. You can stop the work after 6. So again, next day morning, if it's a weekday, you can automatically start at 7:30 to spin up the servers or infrastructure back again. So that's all really important. The main important part is the DORA metrics. So later we are having another slide to talk about DORA metrics separately. So let's talk about DORA metrics there. The last part is the sharing. Sharing feedback and feed forward are really important. Like I mentioned before, you should have a open-minded culture to feedback anything. Even though if you're a tech lead is doing something wrong, like in a if you know there's a better way, you should be able to approach and suggest, okay, why we cannot do like this way. Maybe you can be wrong. You're not seeing what the other developer is seeing. So I always ask this example with other colleagues or when I have like interactive sessions. I ask this question: if you have if there's an organization and there are like two developers, one developer is a newbie and that's just graduate from the university and with 1 year experience, and other developer is like 10 years experience. So you're giving the same task to do to the both developers at the same time, who will be completing the task fast and first. So most of the people will say, okay, that's a 10 years experience guy because he's very experienced, right? He will deliver the application very fast. But it's a wrong answer. The answer will be the newbie, because with her or his experience, that engineer will be seeing only few areas of that the deep areas of that requirement. But the senior engineer will think about the security, maybe the connectivity speeds and storage, so on, like how the application performance, so many things the engineer will be seeing. So the engineer will do the discovery space. The engineer will take at least 5 days to do the discovery and understand what's going on and what's needed, and then start to plan and do the things. But the new engineer, not everyone, but most of the time, they will just Google and see, okay, this is how we do it. They worry about the technology. They just do the application to complete very fast. So feedback is really important. It doesn't matter who is the person. So feedback really important in the setup. So I was talking about the DORA metrics, right? So it means DevOps Research and Assessment Organization. They did this research to come up with these 4 metrics. So these are like cool 4 metrics here. So we'll go one by one. And the first one is deployment frequency. Okay, so deployment frequency means how often your organization release a product. So to do that, you have to make sure few things. First thing is you should not put like chunk, like big deployments. Always try to keep the deployments smaller and multiple deployments. For example, if you're deploying like 20-30 features at a time, don't do that. It's divided at least per week, 10 features. Next week, another 10 features. Another more bug fixes, something like that. So you have to plan it like that way. And your artifact should be able to recreate very fast. So you should have a proper artifact which is immutable, and you should be able to deploy anytime you want. So deployment frequency is really important. How you can metric your success, that how to check your success metrics of this is basically how often your organization is released into the production. I mean the production. So that's one of the part. And another one is lead time for the changes. So lead time for change means the first commit to the production, we have the pipeline, right? Okay, your first commit, and it's going to the dev environment, and it will be building, code build, and you can run your the SAS scan, SCS scan, and your maybe the pre-commit scans, and it's artifact build, and the artifact also scan, and you deploy to the dev staging environment, then deploy to the UAT environment, and you some run another more scans and security vulnerability scans. So there's a time, right? From first commit to the production, there's a huge pipeline. So lead time for change, how long, how amount of time it takes to do these changes. So that's really important to check. So basically, you're creating a Jira, or like I'm more familiar with Jira, so I'm using it. So you're creating a task to for this feature A. So you're creating maybe today, August 14th. So how fast you can deploy this to production. So you can measure something like that, and change failure rate. So this is also very important. So you can come up with a percentage of failure rates of a deployment for the production. So all production deployments cannot be success, even though you have this much of testing. Recently the GitHub goes down, and sometimes you're seeing the major websites going down, the Fastly went down because of some network rule issues. So things can happen. So recently Teams also went down, right? So production things can happen. That's why these processes are there to recover very fast. So next one is about that, the fourth one. So let's complete the third one. So you can come up with a percentage of rate, and you can benchmark it. If you're 30%, this is the color, and this is the grade. 50% this, 60% this. So you can come up with your own way of the organization, or else you can follow the DORA metrics. They have their ways as well. And time to restore service. So this is really interesting. So because how long it takes to organization to recover from the failure production. So if anything goes wrong, how fast the team can recover and restore for the previous version, the best working version of the application. So so who is a DevOps engineer? So basically, a DevOps engineer is a developer with operational tendencies. DevOps engineer should be able to have I don't like to call a DevOps engineer, but yes, in the terms when you're hiring, we call DevOps engineer. You should be knowing about the development like you should have a software development lifecycle knowledge and experience to become a DevOps enabler, DevOps engineer. If you don't know to code, please learn from one level, but make sure you have the basic practices of software development lifecycle and other practices as well related to that. So without if you're a person, I have a lot of questions sometimes getting from, if I am a network guy, I'm a system read guy, I'm a system admin, can I move to DevOps? Obviously you can change your career. It doesn't matter. It's not rocket science, but make sure you're starting from the right way. Even though if it take times, like, go with that flow, don't be rushing. So this is the everyone talking about the infinite loop of the DevOps. You see, right? You plan, code, build, test, release, deploy, and operate and monitor. So the once you plan, then you code, then you build it, right? Then you test. Testing means there can be multiple tests, like call to automation testing and your security testings and so on. And you deploy, and then you operate and you check and you monitor. Monitor means you do the observability. So you trace everything. Is a separate session. I have done a couple of observability sessions for DevOps Sri Lanka. It will take another 1 hour to explain about deep going to the observability, but observability is really important. So you can see why and what went wrong and in the setup. So that's the feedback you're taking. Okay, I'll get an example. With the team, we have the Nisal. So Nisal is a team member of this project A, and you see the feature which Nisal is built, the SQL query. Because of that, the site is very slow and throwing a lot of errors and stuff. So from that you can get the feedback. Okay, something wrong with this Nisal code in the commits, but it doesn't mean to penalize him or give him a warning letter or just blaming him for that. But we as a team, we discuss with them, everyone, in a war room or a meeting room. We discuss, okay, why and what is the issue, so others can share their thoughts, and we learn from that and make sure you document it. And again, you plan, code, build, test. You just keep going, roll on again and again. So this is what's about these infinite loop. So I have a example in the slides. I have always shown this. It's very nice to understand, like in a way of story mode. So let's see. So I took as I'm taking this example from the observability part. So basic about observability is observability helps you to detect what is not working and why it's not working. So why question is really important to check the root cause and go deep into the root and fix it. So you've been waiting and you can't understand what's happening in your own code, and you don't know what's going on. The site is very slow. Everyone is now panicked and shouting it's not working and blaming around and around again. So this scenario we are using we are in the AWS, and we are using uh, application which is hosted, supported by AWS RDS, the relational database services. And RDS, there's like database insight tools where you can go and deep check your uh, queries, like how the queries are performing. So this is a sample I have created that, okay, so there's a high spike about the the former inside. It can show you uh, why and what went wrong. So let's take as a results code, for example. And there's a bad query and the good query. So you can improve that. There's a feedback. So doesn't mean you have to be sad or anything. Just I put as a icon here, but it can be a good feedback from the like the feedback. You take it as a positive and you have to improve. So that means there's something wrong with yourself. You have to improve that area. So make sure to improve and do it better. So for observability, we use a lot of platforms such as APM, application performance manager, something like that, performance monitoring. So you can in and out, you can trace your code and your each functions, how it's performing, how it's executing, because everything is money, right? If your code is using so much resources in your servers, that means you need big huge servers with huge RAM and CPU capacities. That means it will impact your business and the money. So you see the flow is coming, right? So if your code is really working, like performing really well, and you don't need to have a host like huge servers to run this, that means you can run this small server, so which will impact the business, and that is a good way. And you can have a good Christmas bonus for your next Christmas. So make sure to do that. So yeah, it's almost 9:45. That's all about the explain DevOps. So I hope you have learned a lot of things, but this one I covered much as possible with this particular time. This subject we can talk about again and again a lot. So I kept some time to, if you have any questions, so I'm more than happy to answer this now. So if you have any questions, please raise. Seems like no questions. Okay, if there are no more questions, that's all. If you, I have a lot of resources here. You can scan here and you can find all the resources from here. If you have anything, just buzz me. But in Facebook messengers, I don't use that messengers. But you can email me all the content details here. I don't use Facebook much. F- I only share memes. That's it. I check memes and share memes. That's it. I don't waste much time on the Facebook. So uh, you can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm very active in LinkedIn. So I have a question from Innar Palli Guru. Any tips for undergraduates as a beginner? Yes. So there are a lot of communities I've seen. Yes, use it very well. And later I will share some the books. So there will be a Kahoot session. So I'm planning to give a couple of books of this, the second edition of this. So the new edition, it comes up with a use case of American Air Force and Adidas, how the DevOps about their DevOps transformation is really nice. So the second edition, I'm planning to give away some books. So uh, who wants to step into DevOps? Anyone can step into DevOps. There's no any boundaries, no restrictions, but do it in a correct way. Don't follow just um, and especially certifications, right? I'm the person who don't believe in certifications because I have seen people with certification even though they don't have the good knowledge about that area, that domain. If you do the certification to prove that you're good at it, but just don't go for the certification just to sake of pass for it, because it's basically cheat yourself. The good tips I can give: read a lot these books, and there are so many. You can scan this QR code. I have a couple of podcasts which I had done related to this one as well. You can join these communities, the AWS Community Builder, and I think the GitHub campus. There are so many communities. So learn the new things and keep evolve, get the feedback, and just don't go for just for the tools. You may understand about this if you're going for a foreign interview for an organization. After you have a couple of years of knowledge, you may understand how they work the DevOps in ways totally different, because they do the proper DevOps transformation. Job market, I think it's very hot these days, not only in Sri Lanka, even in Singapore. Even Palo IT, we are looking for good DevOps engineers. If you know anyone, just you can ask them to buzz me through the LinkedIn, so I can help to guide them how to apply those things. In SL also, the market is very, very hot. If anyone needs some help with the DevOps, finding for a job or anything, I can try to help to that one as well. Yeah. But make sure you start the career in the right method. Don't go for, like, I seen a lot of companies, even the big companies, they have the big names, but they don't follow proper one. Yeah, technologies, you should know how to develop. You should know how to write a small app, like the programming knowledge. And yes, you should have a cloud technologies, such as even any cloud, but understand the basics. So I'm more familiar with the AWS. Doesn't mean I don't use GCP and Azure. I use Azure sometimes, but so the way I learn with the concept, so I don't stick to one any vendors. Like there's no any monopoly for that. How to shift career into DevOps? Yes, if you're from a developer background, it's very easy to shift to from the developer background to the DevOps. If you're from like a ICT, IT support, or like a network side, yes, then you should able to you must follow some of the basics of development course, or whatever, basics to come of that. Yes, good question. DevOps and DevSecops. So DevOps, development operation, right? I mentioned at two sides, but when it comes to DevSecops, right, it's involved security as well. So DevSecops, if I ask simply, let me go back to my slides again. See, right? So you have test here. So you can add one more, like scanning. You can use SAS scanning for software. If your software is if you're like own code, you want to check if the way of writing a code is vulnerable, or the code quality, you can use the SAS scans. And for SCS scans, software composition analysis scans. So what you can do, especially I think the graduates always family with JS. I've seen a lot of people really using JS React applications, but make sure your package of JSON, right, can have public libraries which are like highly vulnerable. So better to use this kind of scans. You can use Sneak, Nexus, IQ. So next life cycle, now it's going to life cycle. There's so many tools you can use. Sneak also, there's a free version you can try, open source version. So the DevSecops, basically it's securing your pipeline and security in the pipeline. So basically two things. The security pipeline means how can you secure the pipeline. So if you want to build this in a secure environment, like um, your artifact should be encrypted using some keys and is restricted inside your private network, something like that. So security in the pipeline means, like I mentioned, you can add some scans, such as scans like SAS, DAST, SCA, IEST scans to implement security. So it's really good. It's not a new thing actually. It's um, something these days I've seen a lot of people hiring DevSecops engineers as well. So basically, you should have a development knowledge environment and the operation side and the security side as well. So imagine, right? That means that's why it's high demand. Very hard to find good engineers, those who are doing those things. So yeah. Um, no, SRE and DevOps are related, but SREs are more into they take care of the once the DevOps are done with the deployment, the delivery is they push into the production, right? So SREs are the make sure the site is the reliability of the site, like make sure it's not going down, and they keep monitoring 24/7 and to make sure it's there's no any services going down. And a lot of SR engineers are using on call, like the pagerduty alerts, and they check if there's alert, they log and check what's going on, and they should able to they should have the knowledge to go and in deep check where's the root cause. Without a developer also should be able to fix it. Sometimes you need the developer, right? Yes, you according to your organization you have a call or whatever, you'd fix it. So it's a bit different than the DevOps and reliability SREs. But I've seen some places they're doing, I don't know, messed up both together. Yeah. So we have 8 minutes. I think that's time for the questions. If anything later, you can reach me. So I am planning to do a code session. So basically, it's I think you're all familiar with code, right? So make sure you take your phone. It's very easy to click. There are like not much questions. 5, 6 questions are there. So you can scan this, or you can type the pin. Put the full name. Don't put the short name, because later later I need the names to check who are the. Everyone can see the screen, right? The code. I can see Sheikha join. Oh, wait, player limit reach. I think I put as 3 players. um, Sorry, yeah. Let me come up with a new link. Sorry. Give me 1 minute. Let me fix it. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to update the package of that. It won't take that long. Okay. Okay, please join with this one. I will start this in exactly 2 minutes. We have 14 players. We'll wait 1 more minute. 16. Yes, please put the name like I see BK, but we don't know what's BK. So make sure once, if you're the winner, make sure to take a screenshot with your name, whatever the screen you're playing on, right? It may be the mobile phone screenshot. and send to the members, or just email to me. I will post the email address here. Okay, send to this email address with the screenshot. I think only 16 we have. Let's start. So you know the rules, right? The question and the answers will be the screen. From the phone, you will see, okay, if there are 4 answers, you will see the colors with some icons. So you have to press the correct one. Okay, let's get started. Huh? Okay. First question, DevOps is Kubernetes and AWS, Docker and Kubernetes, GCP and Azure, culture, practice and tools. Wow, I think nobody listened to properly the session. It's okay. Okay, let's go to the next one. Can see Akalanka on the top and Shifa on the second. L in CALM's framework says learn, love, lean, list. I think I just keep repeating these things before. Oh, nice. Actually, not nice. Nobody clicked that one correctly. Co-author of DevOps Handbook, Stephen King, Gene Roster, Gene Clam, and Gene Kim. So this name I repeated several times. Oh, there's one answer. Nice. Oh, Shaker back to the game. Who's the father of DevOps? Charles Babbage, Bill Gates, Jeff Sutherland, Patrick DeBois. You can eliminate some names. It's easy. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay. Akalanka and Shake on the top. Measurements are important part of DevOps. Is a myth or a fact? Measurements are an important part of the DevOps. It's a myth or a fact? It's a fact. Correct. Okay, Akalanka in the top. The last one. Okay, passing the third. Okay, I'm going to take the screenshot of this. Please take a screenshot. Okay, I'm going to close this. So back to the screen. So I think that's all from my end. So I can give it over to the organization team.
That was indeed a very illuminating session on DevOps and indeed brought up our competitive spirits. So a big thank you goes out to our speaker, Arshad Zackeriya, for sharing your knowledge on DevOps for all of us to learn about. We hope all of you watching gained an understanding as much as we did and how its significance has impacted developers around the world. Thank you all for your participation and stay tuned for more events to follow organized by the SLIIT FOSS community. Till then, take care and have a good night.